Y'all, welcome back to another interview of How To here at the We All We Got bookstore. I'm Everlecia Taylor, co-owner of harrisforever.com, and today I have a new guest, author of a children's book, Candis. So let's get started. My first question is, who is Candis?
Candis is an educator, an author, a poet, a mother, amongst other things that I'm trying out as far as entrepreneurship goes.
And so we have your book here. This is a really cute book, you guys. What moment do you remember deciding to write a book, and what was the first step?
Actually, I started writing books probably like middle school age. But I never shared like my gift, only with my teachers. But as far as actually putting one out with the publication, this one in particular, I had written it about 2 years ago. And I'm just, as a teacher, you just see so much stuff in the classroom as far as like social economic issues and just all kind of issues. And I remembered that I had wrote this book, and I just felt like it was time, like just experiencing so much stuff with my students. I felt like it was time to start affirming, because I work with, low social economic, high needs kids with Title I schools, and I just felt like I needed to write something that catered to them, and it was time to put it out. So
Pretty and Brown, that was okay. How did the process of actually doing the book from start to finish look like?
Okay, so it was a little easier for me because I had already had the manuscript, already had everything written. So my next step was either, okay, to put it out, am I going to self-publish, or am I going to, find a publishing company? And I had a friend who had already self-published, but as far as how my schedule was, it was just easier for me, and it took a burden off of me to have someone publish the book for me, to do all like, the in-between work and the footwork. So I reached out to a publishing company. We had a consultation, and they were like, what you're looking for, what my target audience was. And then we took it from there as far as like, of course you have to pay because it's a publishing company. So we took it from there as far as getting the payments, and then they brought whatever my vision was to life, as far as getting the book out.
Okay. And so what's something that you know now about publishing that you didn't know that you wish you would have knew?
I would say not so much about the publishing piece. It would be while you're in the works of publishing, trying to the marketing and promotion piece, because yeah, I wrote a book, but the important part is selling that book for the lifetime of the book, like to be repetitious with it. So I wish I would have, knew a little more about the marketing strategies prior to, putting it out.
And that's crazy, because that's my next question is, how does your marketing process go? So what was the first thing you did to market your book?
So being that I'm a teacher, I'm in the classroom. Mm-hmm. So it was a little easier because it's a children's book. I work at an elementary school. I have connections with other people from other elementary schools. So when they heard, everybody knows I'm a poet at the school. So when they heard like, oh my goodness, Miss Perdue has a book, everybody wanted to read it. Everybody wanted to see what it was. So I believe this was more so knowing me and how I educate my students in the classroom, and just being curious, like, how could she transfer that from in the classroom inside of a book? So that part of the marketing was easier, but then it was, okay, what about the people who don't know you a teacher? What about the other outside, people? So I had to come up with a different strategic plan. I knew who my target audience was, so I had to come up with different niches that would kind of, bring another crowd to me as far as outside world besides in the classroom or in the school setting.
Okay. And do you plan on writing? I'm actually gonna put the book right here, so we can put it. Do you plan on writing another book, and if so, what about?
Actually, it's in publication now.
Okay.
It's the boy version to this one. It's titled Brilliant and Brown. Mm-hmm. So that'll be out, and then I have a teen book coming out the beginning of spring of 2022. And it all ties into just being young Black children, young Black African Americans trying to find their way, trying to affirm themselves in the society that we live in, where this, we in a Black Lives Matter era. And then we know like what our children face, not just with other African American children, but what they face with other races. And then that stuff, whether it's known or not, consciously or unconsciously, that causes self-esteem issues. That causes a whirlwind and a cycle of just neglect in so many ways, and that's where depression comes in, and it's just a crazy vicious cycle of stuff.
Yeah, that's really amazing that you're doing because I always feel like the males sometimes are neglected in our community with some of the things that us women have access to, or us girls have had access to. My next question is, what advice would you give someone who wants to write a children's book?
The advice I would give them is to do it, to go for it. Like, it's enough to say, oh, I want to write. Do it. That's the first step, because if you don't get to it when you say you want to do something, you're going to talk yourself out of it.
And what was the process like of getting funding for your book?
So the funding came from me personally. I would have to like break my payments up or do what I needed to do as far as being able to pay for the services. And then when I was almost finished, I still needed like half of the money to finish the publication. And I had a good teacher friend who I worked with years ago who now homeschools her kids, and she was like, just come see me. And I had just talked to her about it a year or something ago, and she didn't even know that, okay, I got to figure out how I'm gonna get the rest of this money to publish this book. She literally gave me more than what I needed to finish my publication. Like, it was just, here, don't say nothing about it. I don't want it back. This is for you, because I know you're doing great things and you're just phenomenal. Like, you got to share your gift with the world. So,
that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. What did you want to be when you left high school? Did you want to be an author? I know you said you was writing since you was
but
young.
I never thought about, I'm gonna be an author, I'm gonna be a poet. When I left high school, I wanted to be a psychologist, actually. Yes, I wanted to be a psychologist, and I went to Florida A&M University, but that quickly changed from psychology to the educational field.
And why do you feel like it changed?
It's just that with psychology, it's like there's only so much you can do without going to school for years and years and years. And I wanted to make an impact like right then. And I'm saying to myself, okay, I have this background, but where can I put this and really have it mean something? And I'm like, what more than adolescence? What more than, my younger self? So that was my thinking.
Okay. So do you consider yourself an avid reader?
Yes, I would say so.
And who is your favorite author?
My favorite author, let me think. Because it
sounds like an easy question, but
it's really
a hard question.
It really is hard. Oh my goodness, who would my favorite author be?
Besides yourself.
Besides myself, that's it. Being that I read so much, I can't really even say I have a favorite. Growing up, it was like Terry McMillan and Sister Soldier, like those type of books. But I read the Bible daily. I read a lot of self-help books, like a lot of self-help books. So,
your favorite self-help book, or one that just come to your mind? The first one that come to your mind.
The first one that comes to my mind is, I'll say Boundaries, and then I'll say How to Own Your Own Mind. Those two.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, How to Own Your Own Mind, and then Boundaries. It has a workbook as well. It's just showing you how to set healthy boundaries for you to be able to fulfill your purpose and not be drained from other people so that one is real good. And then How to Own Your Own Mind, it helps with all the negative thinking and how we are our own worst enemy. And if we don't own our thoughts, then the rest of our body follows what we're thinking, whether it's negative or positive. So that part right there, I would say.
Yeah. And how do you feel like it has changed your worldview?
Wow. When I say tremendously, because and if you read like about the author of my book, you'll see that as a child, like I struggled with self-esteem issues. So, and I didn't tap into my healing until I'm 34 now. I didn't tap into my healing until about 29, 30 years old. And then even more so after that. So,
so really being part of the work of changing your self-esteem.
Yes, I just think, and I think it's an everyday thing, like, because we go through stuff every day and our dynamics change as we elevate and go to new levels. So I think just on a daily, like trying to become a better me on a daily, that's why I continue to read books, because I always can better myself. That's how I feel. And I always need some kind of help doing something, some kind of motivation.
And where do you see your career as an author going?
In all honesty, I'm speaking this into the atmosphere. I see me taking like this author thing to, like, I just see myself like just putting out books, so much so that I won't even be able to be in the classroom at one point. Like, you know, like the classroom is not my end goal. So I just see myself writing so much and it bringing in a monetary value out of this world to where I'm able to like keep recycling it and help others. So I see that happening like in the near future. Just that's it. I'm just an author and those books selling and I'm putting more out, and that's where I see it going.
Okay. And so we talked about marketing earlier. I think that's a pivotal point in getting your book out there. I know that you have your channel where you interview people. So how do you feel like that has contributed to you marketing your book? Like, do you always shout it out, or like?
The crazy thing is I never, ever shout it out. And that's crazy. And people will look and they'll go through my pages after I do my interviews or whatever. Like, yo, you an author? Yo, you a teacher? So I never talk about that side of me during my interviews or doing that phase. So when they come across it, they're like excited, like, you do this too. And then they start telling other people, maybe I could be more intentional with it, but that's not where my mind is when I'm doing my show. I'm focused on affirming other people and encouraging other people, or just interacting with other people. And then when I need to be intentional with my marketing, then I'll go that route. But as far as my show, I don't really market it on there.
Okay. And this is the last question, one of my favorite questions. If you can go back and give your 18-year-old, 16-year-old self a piece of advice, what would it be?
It would be, don't seek validation from those around you. Don't wait for others' validation. And don't share your dreams too prematurely. Yeah. That's what I would say.
Okay. I want to expand upon the part about validation, because I feel like you had that with even the bit of solid psychology mind that you understand. So how does a person move past waiting to be accepted? Because, you know, like, that's a norm. We go, mama, look at what I did, daddy, look at what I did all your life. You go so how does one get past that? What from you for your experience?
From my experience, it was just because that's temporary. When you get, somebody may think you cute one day, or oh, you look nice, the next day your hair messed up, you got a bonnet on, they may not think the same thing. Or they may like what you did this day and the next day it's not the same. So people are fickle. So when you are waiting for other people to validate you and tell you you look good, or you're doing a good job, or you need to go for this, that can change from 1 minute to the next, and it's temporary. And when you have that, your emotions are all over the place, and then you become double-minded. And I got tired of being double-minded and second-guessing myself because of what other people thought at one moment or what they didn't think. And I'm saying to myself, I need this feeling of validation to last. What more to do than to get it from God, who never changes?